Hello, everyone. Welcome to NerdChat. We are going to be talking more Star Wars today. Rick, tell me a tale.
More Star Wars Infinities. This time we are doing The Empire Strikes Back. So as you recall from last time we did Star Wars Infinities, Infinities takes a storyline you know and love, like New Hope, and this time Empire Strikes Back, and alters one specific event near the beginning of the story.
Right.
So you're then seeing the fractured events of what happens if you alter that event in the timeline.
Correct. And this does not continue off of the last one.
No,
right?
it doesn't.
So
it's an entirely different thing.
It's a standalone story.
It's standalone.
Cool. I appreciate that.
So
then we get three completely different stories.
Yes.
Overall.
So each
Awesome.
one. So where New Hope ended, went through the whole story, and they smashed the Death Star and killed the Emperor and all that. So that ended. That's its own thing.
Okay.
And now we're doing Empire Strikes Back. And so the events in this timeline are the same. They're what you know all the way through New Hope and into Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Now the event that changes is that on Hoth, when Luke gets captured by the Wampa and Han goes to save him, Luke freezes to death.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Luke dies. All right? That is the alternate event in Empire Strikes Back, right?
Okay.
So,
did Han not cut open the Tauntaun?
No, he did. He did everything he could to save him.
But it just didn't work.
But it didn't work.
Okay.
His wounds were too grave, and he died. He died. And so, but before he dies, he tells Han to go to Dagobah.
Okay.
He's like, you have to go to Dagobah, train to be Jedi. His sentence is kind of trailed off, and he doesn't get to say the whole thing, but he says, you have to go to Dagobah, train to be Jedi. And then so the rebellion comes back and they find Han and they're like, we found you.
Quick question: is Ben just standing over Luke
he that's the thing. Ben's there with Luke before Han gets there, and he's telling him, he's like, Luke, you have to get to Dagobah. And it's just like when he's talking to Han, where it's hard to tell what they're actually saying because certain words are cut out.
Okay.
They're trying to talk, but it's like the roaring of the wind is
it's like you can't get everything out.
It's cutting it out for you. So the rebellion comes and they pick up Han, and he's like, yeah, Commander Skywalker, he passed away last night. I did what I could, but I couldn't save him. And so they take his body back, and they're having a funeral, and Leia's upset, and Han's talking to her, and he's like, Luke said, I have to go to Dagobah. He said to train to be a Jedi, and I don't understand, how could I possibly be a Jedi? But as they're talking, the Empire strikes, because they were unable to deal with the probes.
Okay.
So they hit, and without Luke guiding the rebellion in that battle, they lost. The AT-ATs wiped out the shield generators, and
okay.
Yeah, so they got fucked up. They shot down all the pilots and everything. And the general is trying to direct troops for evacuation and everything. And Han just grabs Leia out of the control center and he says, "We're leaving. Good luck, General." And he leaves with Leia.
Okay.
So he's got Han, Leia, Chewie, 3PO, and R2-D2 all get on the Millennium Falcon and they fucking take off.
Okay.
They go into space where they're getting shot at by the Star Destroyers, and they go with Han's typical stick and float away with the garbage thing. So what you know.
Okay.
And once again, they're fucking caught by Boba Fett.
Okay.
So, they go to Cloud City. Now this time, because Luke is dead and Vader isn't following his senses, to figure that out, they get to Bespin first. And Lando's like, what are you doing, man? You douche. She's like, he's talking to Leia. He's like, how are you hanging out with this guy? And he's like, hey, I'm a new guy now. I'm fighting with the rebellion and stuff. We're doing good work. And he's like, we're not staying long though, Lando. We gotta go. We gotta go to Dagobah. And he's like, I gotta go train to be a Jedi Knight. Galaxy rests on my shoulders now. And Lando's just laughing his ass off. Lando's just like, there's no way you're going to be a Jedi. and Leia gets upset by this, and she's like, our friend died to give him this information. For all you know, the fate of the galaxy is standing in front of you. With Han. And he's like, look, I'm sorry, but if you knew Han the way I do, you'd find that really hard to believe. So I was laughing at that, and then Lando's taking him inside. He's like, don't worry, I got my best mechanics on it. They're going to get the Falcon all fixed up. Mm-hmm. And so he takes them to an apartment, and Lobot comes up, the dude with the android. And he's like, we have another visitor. And he's like, when did he get here? He's like, just after they did. And Lando goes to the meeting room, and it's Boba Fett. Mm. So that's the end of the first issue.
Okay.
So that's the first quarter. And then issue 2 starts with Boba Fett and Lando talking. And Boba Fett's like, look, you gotta take me to Han because my employer's on the way and you don't want to deal with my employer. And Lando's like, no, I really don't. And Boba points a gun at him, like in his face, and says, you really need to take me to Han. And Lando's like, well, when you put it that way, it makes a lot more sense. So, as he turns around, and it's Lando and Lobot and Boba, and Lando winks at Lobot. Uh-huh. And so they lead Boba Fett into a battle with a bunch of Bespin guards, Han and Chewie.
Okay.
So, like, they manage to corner him, but he ends up, like, killing a bunch of the guards, and he jetpacks and slams Han into one of the pillars. Okay. And, but before he can, kill Han, Chewie picks up Boba Fett and just slams him into one of the walls. So hard that Boba Fett's just unconscious. Just sleeping. And I was like, damn, that is really hard, especially if you're in Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, that's no easy feat.
That is not an easy feat. And so they're like standing over Boba Fett, and Han's like, all right, well, we need to get going soon if they're already tracking us here. Yeah. And they're like, well, who's his employer? It's probably Jabba. Mm-hmm. And that's what Han's saying. That's what Lando thinks. And he's like, all right, well, we'll get you out of here before, fucking Jabba shows up. His fat ass isn't going to do anything. Mm-hmm. And they get his hyperdrive fixed, but they don't do the other repairs to the Falcon. They just fix the hyperdrive. Okay. And so Han and Leia and Chewie and R2 and 3PO, they take off and leave. And Lando's in his office like, good work, everyone. Yeah, we did good stuff. And the Executor shows up, Darth Vader's flagship. Yeah. And in a holo call, he calls Lando like, where's Boba Fett? He reported this location. And because earlier when they captured Boba Fett, they're like, what do we do with this guy? And Chewie's like, and Han's like, no, Chewie, we can't just kill him. I have a better idea.
Trash compactor.
So the angle shows Lando sitting at his desk with his feet up on his desk. Uh-huh. The desk is just Boba Fett frozen in carbonite upside down. So Lando's got his feet up on the back of the floating thing, and he's like, Boba Fett can't come to the phone right now. And Darth Vader's like, Boba Fett reported this location. He reported that Solo was here. So where is Solo? And he's like, he's gone. Like, he left. And Vader goes, okay, well, if you're unable to produce Fett or Solo, I'm going to assume that this is a rebel base and destroy it. So he fucking shoots out the repulsors for Cloud City, and it just sinks into the planet. Oh. So, like, Lando and everybody's like, we gotta get out of here. Vader's like, nah, fucking target the repulsors to sink that bitch.
Oh, man.
So Bespin's just gone. It's like, damn, Vader. That was harsh, man. Okay, so then we get back to the Falcon, right? Okay. And Han and Chewie are in the cockpit, and Leia's there, and Han's, like, freaking out, because he's like, I don't understand how the hell I can be a Jedi. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get it. I've never had any of these weird feelings. I don't, like, it's not right. It's weird.
Never had any signs of being Force sensitive.
Yeah, and he's like freaking out. He's like, how can the galaxy rest on my shoulders? It's not okay. It's not right. Yeah. But at the same time, 3PO's like, Master Solo, there's something wrong with with Master Organa. She's feeling ill.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, Leia, what's wrong? Are you okay? And she's like, I think so. I was just overcome by terror and then nothing.
Because of Cloud City.
Because of Cloud City. So right there is where they're showing us that Leia is actually the one who's Force sensitive and not Han. But Han doesn't have that information, so he's just going off of directly what Luke told him.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that, and then they show up on Dagobah, or they get to Dagobah and they land, and they're going out to find Master Yoda. Now, this is just like Luke. They have no idea what he looks like, no idea where the hell he is and things like that. So Han and Chewie are going out, and they're like, all right, we just got to canvas this area and figure out where it is. And Leia's like, I want to go too. And Han's worried about her because she's been acting weird, she's been feeling weird, and he's worried about her with Luke's death and things like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you just stay at the ship? This place is dangerous. I can feel it with my Force senses. And she's like, no, it's odd and I can't explain it, but this place feels like home. She's like, I can't explain it, but I don't feel in danger here. This place feels like home. So they keep going, and Leia follows because obviously she's Leia and she's strong-willed and won't do what anybody tells her what to do. And they just kind of follow just go forward, and they find Yoda's hut because R2's sensors pick up a fireplace.
Okay.
So they're like, oh, well, there's probably a settlement or a village or something over here. And obviously they just go straight to Yoda's house. And there's no beating around the bush there because they show up and Yoda's like, this is unforeseen. This is expected a different Skywalker to die because he was under the assumption Luke was on the way.
Yeah.
Because he can communicate with the Force ghosts of
he can
Ben.
talk to Ben.
With
Ben not giving him an update about hey, yo, Luke kicked the bucket.
So I think Ben's being a dick. That was my assumption. I was like, are none of the Force ghosts paying attention? Are they just playing Force Ghost Canasta? Oh shit, we missed that. But Yoda doesn't beat around the bush at all. He's like, but your brother's gone, so I'm gonna have to train you. The Force is strong in your bloodline. And
then Leia was probably like, what?
And she's like, what? Luke's my brother? And he's like, yeah, and it's also strong in your bloodline, because Darth Vader's your dad. And Leia's just like, what? and Han is like, wait a minute, no, I thought I was the chosen one. And then Han's like, Leia, you can't listen to the pond jumper. He's filling your head with lies. And he's upset because he thought he was the chosen one, and he's also worried about Leia because he cares about her, and he's like, what the hell is going on, man?
That would be a shame to think that you're going to be a Jedi, and then it just turns out no. Yeah, she gets to be a Jedi. You're just...
Not you. Well, that's the funny part, because he's like, Leia, you can't stay here. It's not safe here. And Yoda just goes, safer with Jedi Master Yoda she will be than a death-marked scoundrel like you. And Han's like, hey, how'd you know about my bounty? A Jedi I am, remember? And then he just invites him in, and they're fucking eating his food, and Han's like, how does he know? There's no technology anywhere near here. How the hell does he know about my bounty?
Who hits their head on the ceiling?
I think Chewie does this time. I think it's Chewie.
As long as someone does, that's what's important.
Because they go in, and then it skips to when. So Han and Chewie then go to leave.
Okay.
And he's like, "You're right. Yoda's right. This death mark is dangerous for me and you, and I can't have it be dangerous for you. So you stay here, do your training, and Chewie and I are gonna go deal with the death mark."
Okay.
Where they're gonna go off, they're gonna go work off their debt, and they're gonna pay back Jabba.
That's good.
So that the death mark is gone, and then they're gonna come back and get Leia.
Cool. All right, hold that thought. So guys, we're gonna cut it here. The next video is gonna be out right after this, but we just don't want to have a freaking half-hour long video. So part 2 is really, like, literally right after this. It releases at the same time. So go ahead and click the next one. It'll be popping up anytime right now.
Yay!